Hello, world. Hello to all our fellow travelers out there as well. I'm Helen Taylor, and welcome to the inspired radio series, You Are Supernatural. I'm here with you every Monday for conversations and stories, not to entertain you, but to wake something up in you. We're going to talk cycles, programs, energy, healing, out of body, ghosts, dimensions, telepathy, patterns, conversations to just bend reality at the edges. So let's get started because this week my guest is Rachel Vaughan, and we're going to talk about her journey as a psychic medium, a paranormal researcher, and she's co-founder of the Lay Love Down movement as well. Rachel has spent years exploring the mysteries of ley lines, earth energies, portals, spirit entities, aura reading, psychic protection, and the connection between the supernatural phenomena and sacred sites around the world. So let's dive deep into the hidden forces of our world and the unexplained. So welcome, Rachel. Great to talk to you again.
Oh, it's so exciting. What a great channel. This
Yes.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
Someone needed to do this, so I'm really impressed that you're doing it, darling.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, you and I are both standing out on the edge of the earth, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
We're just talking about this on the front line. On
On the
the
front
front
line.
line. Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
front line, because I don't know how you see it. I'd love to hear how you see it, but I see that we all have our own realities. We're running about 8 billion different realities on this planet at the moment, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And when you try and get your head around that, it's like you have a dream and it's so real. And then you wake up and you think, but in that dream, I was so certain that it was all real.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we're doing. We are all our own dimension and multiverse.
Yes. Yes. There's the language. And I think that I'm hearing more and more about quantum
Oh
at the
yeah.
moment. You too?
Oh yeah. Well, I've always had a fascination with it, mostly because I was obviously brought up under MK Ultra programming conditions because my father was a programmer and people around him, and
Mm.
they had this obsession with quantum entanglement.
Did they? Even back then?
Yes, yes. So I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and my father would talk about Mangala or Mengele, but he'd call him Mangala because he mangled people. And he'd snigger about it. He was revolting.
Hmm.
And
Creepy
part of
man.
the twin research was about quantum entanglement. So they often would take twins. So, a lot of mothers in the 50s and 60s just had their children taken. They either were told that they were dead. This is Australia and in many other Western countries as well, where they had
Yes.
Operation Paperclip, and here it was Matchbox, and there were operations all over the place where the Nazi scientists were spread around. They would take children, and if there were twins, they would send one twin off in one direction to one country and or one location and keep the other in another place, and they would just see what would
Study
happen in
them.
their life and
Study
study
them.
them. And some of them were told that their twin died at birth, but they were still studied.
Oh.
Now, how is that going to help anybody and be of any interest if the other twin's supposedly dead?
But again, what we're talking about here is their reality. They were creating or part of a reality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that reality, for people that don't understand how it works out there, I mean, it can start with an idea, and then somebody else has that idea. So there's two people in that reality, and then they start, like energetically pulling people into their reality. I mean, we've got realities out there that some of them are terribly evil, some of them are terribly distorted, and
Yeah.
some of them are beautiful.
Yeah. 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 And this is the interesting thing at the moment. You notice that, the people that you choose to spend time with tend to be on a much nicer timeline than those that are stuck, and then there are a lot of people that are stuck at the moment, which I totally understand.
Yes.
But they're going to have to get unstuck pretty soon because we've got all this alien stuff coming out. I was watching some stuff last night. The CIA is now saying there's four different kinds of alien that have been with us for quite some time.
Mhm.
So, big girl panty time for everybody.
Well, let's just take a jump to the side at the moment because you've got Steven Spielberg's movie that's coming out.
Yes,
Um, Disclosure Day? Is it Disclosure Day?
something like
Something
that.
like that, which
Yeah.
is about disclosing aliens.
Yeah.
But also astrologically, we've got July. I think there's some alignments that, I'm hearing that the secrets of secrets are going to come out.
Oh, well, that fits. I didn't know that there was an alignment because I'm not an astrologer, but that's very interesting. Thank you for that. Because
Well,
in March,
for
we
people out
had a
there,
big shift.
I was listening to Pam Gregory, if anybody and if
I
anybody
love,
wants to know the background of, let me just say this before we move on, the background of things that you were saying about MK Ultra and, and your father and things like that, they can research that themselves.
yeah,
We don't need to reveal all of that stuff because today we're talking about juicy supernatural stuff. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So I
So
love Pam too. So I've got to watch her update.
absolutely. She's talking about the alignments for July. The secrets of secrets are going to get revealed. So, you
Oof.
know, the beautiful thing is, like for someone like Pam, we're talking about realities again, aren't we? Because in her paradigm, in her reality, as soon as you get people following you and engaging in what you are experiencing, they start co-experiencing it as well. And like you
Absolutely.
said before, like attracts like.
Yeah, yeah. And this is why it's really important to not get hooked into the doom and gloom stuff. And
Mm,
unfortunately, people who've gone through my sort of childhood, a lot of them are very hooked into that. And I try really hard not to get stuck in that
yes.
because this collective consciousness thing that Hollywood's so desperate to try and harness, this is what drives reality, our collective consciousness. If we're all doom and glooming, we might create something yucky. We really need to focus on the positive. I find it very frustrating because I have some dear friends who are very like doom, doom, doom because of their trauma, and they also have big platforms. So it's a my recommendation to people is to follow what feels right.
Hmm.
Just
Yes.
follow what feels right.
Yes. But I do remember being, in that reality of doom and gloom myself as well. And I think we behave in a different way when we're there. For
Oh,
me, it was all about complaining. It was all about comparing everybody as well. And it was very much about gossip, right?
well, isn't that social engineering though? Because women are supposed to just sit around and gossip.
Mm,
Stops us from doing all the really important work that we're meant to be doing.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Gossip magazines, everything.
And that was programming,
Of
absolutely
course. Yeah,
programming. And when I started to realize, because you sort of bob your head out of the programming every now and then, and you observe how other people are operating, you think that's really nice. Like,
yeah,
that person seems to have it all together. And it's like, the outside world or reality or whatever you want to call it is actually asking you to step out of the yucky programming that you're sitting in and choose something else.
yeah, yeah.
Mm?
This is where the beauty is because this is a multidimensional world. We are multidimensional beings. Every chakra, in my opinion, allows us access to a different dimension.
Yep. Yes.
And we can create our reality. We can also recognize that there are otherworldly entities that we exist with.
Yes.
And this is frightening for some people, unfortunately, but they're not all bad. And it's a little bit like I say, 12 to 1. You've got 12 good people for every dark person on this planet. That's the way I see it.
Okay.
You've got 12 good otherworldly entities for every one that might be mischievous or difficult or horrible.
Yes.
They're not all bad. Unfortunately, religion tries to convince us that they're all evil and we can't communicate with any of them because we've got to go with a monotheistic religion and one God. But then when you look into it, the Bible and who is this one God? I don't trust a jealous God. I
No,
just,
no. Thank you for saying that because that was a question that I had. I revisited in my adulthood, I revisited religion because I'd only experienced it as a child. So I wanted to go back as an adult and have a look at what it was all about. Um, and that's when I started looking at it and thinking a lot of this was created. How could you have an omnipresent kind of, existence or being or God or whatever it is who was judging you
yeah,
and doing really quite awful things? And where did sin come from? And where did demons come from? And again, I started realizing that a lot of it was programming.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And somebody started those thoughts, somebody started those ideas, and then collectively pulled other people in. Yeah. And that becomes like a massive program, doesn't
Mm.
it?
Yeah, it does. And it's so incredibly controlling. Anything it wants to control
Mm.
is not of the light. It's
Yeah.
not loving, and it's not healthy. most indigenous cultures are polytheistic, so they have lots of different, spirit beings that they have reverence for, not
Mhm.
worship, but have reverence for. And I think that's the other thing. Some indigenous cultures do worship, but you don't want to worship anything because that's another really negative energy. Worship energy is I am lesser than, this entity's better than me. That's another control factor.
Yes.
And you can want to emulate and be like, you
Mhm.
know, a, a historical figure like Jesus Christ, if he existed. And I think he probably did. I think he probably did. But you don't want to worship because that energy's wrong.
That's a great point because other people who are come along are just inspiring you on another way to live and another way to behave, aren't they?
Yeah. And this is something that's really important for people who are out there in the public eye too. When people worship you, you have to shut it down.
Yes.
That's where everything, megalomania, everything starts to be created from that worship energy.
No one's a guru. No one's a guru.
No, no,
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
no. We're all on this journey together. We don't come in unless we are a twin. We don't come in with any other soul. We
Mm.
come into a soul family, but when we go too, we go, it's our journey. We're not necessarily taking people with us. So we've got to, it's just like we can't take our worldly goods with us either. So
Yes.
it's an individual journey. So, and on the worship energy, I know from all the research that I've done, where ley lines cross and we get these portal spaces where very dark souls or individuals have done all sorts of rituals and things in the past. They now put big arenas on those spaces. They make them the shape of an eye because that's to do with the Illuminati god, the eye and the pyramid. And they get people in there for worship energy to be expressed.
Contributing to it.
Yes,
Contributing to
they're
it.
literally harnessing worship energy, which
Okay.
shows you it's wrong and it's bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Oval stadiums.
Yes. Yeah. They're
Okay.
all in the crossing point of really powerful portal spaces, crossing points of multiple ley lines, like
Yes.
lots of ley lines, and usually the most significant ley lines in the area. It's just, and some of them, like, they don't even try and hide that it looks like a massive eye. The
Mm.
MCG in Melbourne, even the grounds make up the white of the eye with the way that the tree line is. It's really quite
It's that
disturbing.
obvious. It's that
It's that
obvious.
obvious. Yeah.
Okay. That's incredible. That's incredible. Okay. So that brings me to the next point that's on my mind is, well, the physical world. I mean, I think the last I heard from somebody talking about the physical world is 0.036% of the energy,
Oh, wow.
right? The physical is less than 1% of the energy. So people need to start paying attention to the other 99 point whatever it is percent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is energy, and all we're focusing on is the outcome, the material matter, the physical, which is the outcome of all of that energy.
It's the biggest lie, isn't it? We used to have theories around ether. Ether used to be part of the table, the periodic table, or
Yes.
table of elements. So, and that was struck off
Hmm.
because that's our consciousness. That's our explanation for consciousness and the energy you're just describing. That
Right.
got struck off so that we would all focus on the physical material. And then, the funny thing is when I read for people, I read auras. And I have a whole system of, different colors mean different things. And most academics, throat chakra, that's the only chakra that's really driving them. The other chakras are sort of, there, but the third eye, the crown is not open and operational.
Yep.
It's just this, I've got to speak, it's got to be scientific, it's got to be physical. And they're really on a spiritual level, or sorry, on a soul level, very, very young souls that they're not developed. And I know that sounds very judgy, but I get judged a lot because I'm a psychic and I'm not scientific. So
Hey, it's your reality. It's your
it's my
reality.
reality. I can't help but be judgy in that. But it's just hilarious that we're taking all of this. We're being controlled by the toddlers on
Ah,
a
now I see where
spiritual.
you're going. Right.
Yeah, yeah, in,
Right.
in the spiritual. And not to say that some scientists are quite open to that sort of thing, but they're the ones that usually get hammered, or they just don't express themselves in their modality because they'll just get harassed.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
academics
energetically,
quite the
what
ones.
you're saying, I mean, in my paradigm, in my reality, I saw the same thing with the energy getting to the throat, and that's as far as it would go. And I
Yeah.
used to look at it like it was the cork in the bottle, right?
Yeah.
So the energy had just accumulated and accumulated and accumulated. And usually the best way of actually shifting that energy is to just go and get angry. Like let
Yeah.
whatever that pent up something is, because I experienced it myself, right? I went and went for a walk, and I went out into the middle of nowhere. It was the back of a recycle center, and I decided I was going to scream. I was going to let that cork out, right? I was going to let it move. And the programming that I was actually challenging at the same time, it was just incredible because I got to the top of this big spiral walkway, and I was going to scream across all the paddocks, and I couldn't at first. I couldn't, because all this thinking was someone's going to hear you, you're going to do something wrong. And I decided to push through that, and then I just screamed as loud as I could, and boy, it felt great. So I'm
Oh, I
just letting
get it.
anybody know out there, if you feel like you kind of just, stuck at that point, move the cork, burst it open.
I used to do exactly the same thing at
Did
the
you?
beach when it was really windy and the ocean was roaring, so no one could be disturbed by my screaming, and I would scream my head off.
Yes.
And so cathartic.
Yes, yes, I get you. So now we're both recommending that for people.
Yeah.
If you get your energy moving, just find a space. Because I would even do it in the car. If there were no other cars around it, a set of lights, I'd do it there as well.
I
Yeah.
love it.
And at
And
some point, you move past having to do that.
a lot of people with Hashimoto's and thyroid conditions, that's because they're not expressing, they're not letting it out. So, like you said, the bottle in the cork. There's
Yeah.
family members that I have that have a chronic thyroid condition, have not spoken up about what's happened to them,
Right,
going bald. These are
right.
females, and it's just it's the physical representation of what happens when people don't say what needs to be said.
The body is a feedback system.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
feedback system. Wherever the energy turns up with some sort of condition or disease, it's telling you something, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to keep that energy moving. So,
Mm.
for people out there trying to understand, who are we, Rachel? Who are we?
Oh, it gets weirder and weirder. It gets weirder and weirder. So we're a an infinite soul having a human experience.
Definitely.
We're human, but there's also some hybridization that's gone on.
Yes.
So some are more hybrid than others. Some are fully human, and there are signs for the hybridization, which are very interesting. And a lot of the bloodline families, if they're not full reptilians, sorry, I'm just going to say it, they're
Absolutely.
hybrid
Yeah.
of those lines. And it's pretty freaky. I mean, I say 5 years ago, I would never have spoken about this, but it's all coming out now. So, we
Yes,
can talk about it.
it
There,
is.
there are so many signs of hybridization, heterochromia, different colored irises. It's all through Hollywood. Just about every main full on actor has got one version, central, full, segmented, or partial heterochromia.
Which
We're
is
seeing
different eye
the
color.
irises are different colors.
Right.
So full is where you have a blue eye and a yellow eye, or a blue eye and a green eye, or whatever. I'm thinking of my cat. Central is where you have a different color, a ring of color around the pupil that's different to the rest of the iris. Segmented or partial, you can have, one third can be a different color of the iris, or just a stripe like Madeleine McCann. All
Right.
these really interesting things, and that is a sign.
I didn't know about, because you see, like it's coming to mind for me, blue eyes with the black ring around them. Like I've seen so many, either babies or adults
Yeah,
like that, and it's stunning. It's
it is
pretty,
stunning. Yeah.
pretty beautiful to look at. So you're saying that's a sign of hybridization.
It is that is a different version, a different factor. The central is more of a around the pupil, like a full. It's like one half of the iris is one color, and the other half of the iris is a different color.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really interesting,
Boy,
but
we're
that's
all
just one factor.
we're going
There's
to be
red
out there.
hair in the family, Rh negative blood type in the family. You don't have to be an Rh negative blood type, but if you've got someone in your close family that has Rh negative blood,
Means what?
uh, unusual teeth, very, very tall people. There's lots of different signs. And of course, the surname, if you've got one of the surnames of the
Yeah.
bloodline types. But,
So
a lot of names change over
what
journey.
you're talking about, I mean, I've been down these rabbit holes too, is that, our history that we have been told isn't the truth
Yeah.
of our history at all. That there have been different species here that have been experimenting on, in the science labs, basically. When I had Guy Anderson on a few months ago, he was talking about Tartaria. I didn't even know that right now already they're cloning. They're cloning. It's big business. It's
Oh, yeah.
big business. So if it's big business that they're cloning horses and dogs and all sorts of other things, they're cloning people as well.
Right.
And it's never stopped. It's been going on for thousands of years or more. I can't even get into how long, but
Yeah.
we've had nothing new under the sun, I suppose, that there's been cycles of different species, experimentation, and all sorts of stuff going on.
Or even the CIA's come out in the last few days saying that that humans have been interspecies, like genetically
Right.
spliced with aliens. I know that's what's going to come out from underneath the Zorro Ranch, Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. That's going to come out very soon. The lab under there that's what they were doing. They were
Oh, right.
genetically engineering with alien DNA.
Yeah. And I mean, the only part of our history that kind of alluded to that was the whole German thing in World War II and
Exactly.
things like
Yeah.
that. There was kind of, it was revealed to a certain extent, and it was, really turned into something very dark.
Yeah.
Um,
And
gosh,
again, it always goes back to control.
yeah.
It always goes back to control. So I heard someone's theory the other day that, that there were two factions. There were humans and there were the alien faction, and the humans were just food. And then the interbreeding occurred long, like thousands and thousands of years ago, so that the humans could fight back. And that's a really nice way to look at it. I like to look at it that way because I'm from a bloodline family. Um, so I like to think that there's some of us here that have come into these families, have chosen as an infinite soul having a human or hybrid experience, that we're here to clean up the mess.
That's exactly what I've been saying.
Yeah, good.
That's what I'm here for. I mean,
Yeah,
as you try and understand who you are and what this place is, your language and your insight changes, doesn't it, over the years? But I'm very clear on it now. I mean, it's very simple. I'm just here to clean up this place
yeah,
because this place has gotten incredibly out of control. It is predominantly negative energy and paradigms, and it really is simply a matter of choice. You can choose to tune into the love
yeah,
that you actually really are.
yeah. You absolutely can. And I've got to say this. So I was watching an Indigenous American Indian recently, and he was talking about the Rainbow Warriors and this time of the Rainbow Warriors coming in. I'd heard this before or read about it, and I thought, or the way that it was interpreted was that it was all the different races of the world coming together to fix things.
Yeah,
This American Indian guy, totally different stance. He said first there were the indigo children. He was talking about the soul frequency.
right.
Then there were the crystalline children. Yes, he's quite right. So 70s with the indigos. Crystallines came in around about 2020, 23, around that time. Now he says they're the rainbow children. I have just been watching all of these people around me. Their aura has gone to a rainbow frequency. It's
Okay.
astonishing. Usually it's one or two colors.
Yep.
This is a whole rainbow, and it's spectacular. And that is the prophecy. The Rainbow Warriors is not about all the different races. Oh, although we are all going to come together, I believe, not
Yep.
under anything globalist.
Yes.
It's the friggin' soul frequency that we're achieving.
Right.
It's astonishing.
And they're bringing it here. They're bringing it here, anchoring it here
Yeah,
again. Yeah.
yeah,
Because heaven is here.
yeah,
The Bible really bastardized that we were going to go to heaven at some point. It's a dimension right here. It's already here. Um, People just need to start unplugging from the programming that they've been a part of, which doesn't have to be traumatic. It doesn't have to be painful. It's a matter of choice, right? because I know myself for the last 5 years consciously, I have been creating heaven on earth. And when I first started talking about it, it made me think of, remember, there was a guy called Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
and he said, I have a dream.
Yeah.
And at the time, nobody could see his dream. A lot of people thought he was a nut, right? He thought there was going to be equality. He thought there was going to be all this other stuff, this new world. He was right.
Yeah.
And people like you and I, you'll relate to this. There's things that you've known and things you've wanted to talk about. And, it's like at first, you're going to get a tiny percentage that are going to go, you're okay. Yeah. You're going to get a tiny more of a percentage who are going to go, I'm not sure, but I'm going to listen. And then you're going to get the majority that are going to go, you're a nut.
Yeah.
You're a nut.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can't see your reality, and that's the only reason why people think you're a nut. So I just want to encourage people to start looking for heaven, right? And start looking for what that is, because it's there right in front of you, right? You just have to ask for it. You just have to look for it, and you have to start to become it. Behave like it. Because when I first started consciously doing this 5 years ago, I was just looking for kind, loving people and how I could be more of a kind, loving person. That's all I focused on. Yep.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, right? You want certain people in your world, and that's all you get.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You also have to believe it's possible.
That's a good point.
That's the biggest part, is actually believing it's possible, because you can go through that process, and good on you for doing that, by the way.
Mm.
I remember saying to my father as a child, I just want to be nice, and he thought it was hilarious, but I meant it and I stuck to it.
Yeah.
Um, when you believe that something can be done, as you get more and more confident, you create it. It happens. That's what alchemy is.
It is. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is alchemy. That's not turning metals into gold, right? That's another delusion that's been
Yep.
sold to everybody to get
Exactly.
everybody off track, right? We
Yeah.
are the alchemy.
We are the alchemy. And I believe the whole purpose of existence is to achieve wisdom, which has been completely destroyed, in the current paradigm, which is crumbling, thankfully,
Yes.
because our elders are shoved away, and they can die on their own in some institution, and they're the ones that hold the wisdom. Anybody who tries to develop their wisdom is told that they're crazy, and they get put into a mental institution, or medicated.
Yes.
People who hear voices are schizophrenic or
I know.
psychotic, and it's like, oh my God. And these are the shamans. These are our shamans, that were the people that were the leaders in the community, who would share their visions and their information, so that the community would find food, would know when the weather was coming in, they would know how to subsist,
Yep.
because of the shamans that would help them. And that's just been completely just destroyed. But it's coming back, because people are realizing that they are in themselves their own shaman. You
Yes.
can't you can't get somebody to heal you. You have to give permission for the healing. You can go and get advice on how to heal, but nobody heals anybody. You heal yourself.
Mm.
And that's a
True,
process.
yeah, a true healer will push you within yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
'Cause-
absolutely.
and you make the transformation. The alchemy happens within you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, precisely.
What a world.
Yeah.
What a world. Hey?
It's changing. It is
It
changing
is.
very, very quickly at the moment. I think
It is.
I'm I'm excited for 2027. I've known that it's going to be amazing. I'm hearing other people are talking about this. This psychic said this and this psychic said that, because it is going to be a completely, fundamentally different paradigm.
Correct.
And it is not dark. All I
Correct.
keep saying is just floods of light.
Because even at the moment, I'm finding that I call it the old world and the new world because we're just looking for labels of
Yeah,
what's going on, really. It's that crazy, clunky human way of having to find words for things, right? But the old world, I respect it. I'm aware it's there, but I don't engage with it very much at all. I'm in my own bubble, so to speak, and I keep it clean and clear, and I watch who comes in and out of my sphere of reality. I respect that old world, but I also see that as I'm respecting it, I require it to respect me as well. So it has little to do with me, little to do with me at all. And, another clunky thing that I started realizing was I don't think it can see me a lot of the time.
Yes, it probably can't.
You know what
But
I
that's the
mean?
thing, yeah. So the fear porn, is that what you're talking about? The old world, the old, clunking along, time, race, race,
All of
race.
that. All of that.
If you get stuck in the fear porn, people don't understand that's another leash device. Every time you look at something on social media that makes you depressed,
Mm,
you bringing that brings your soul frequency down. That stops the earth from ascending. That brings everybody down.
mm.
And I know people have to be aware of things, and we're all working in our own sectors trying to improve the
Yes.
world.
Yes.
12 of
There's that
us,
language
12
again.
out of every 13 trying to improve and fix.
Yeah.
But I really recommend just letting the fear porn go and try and look at it from this point of view. Demons it's like Monsters Inc. Demons can only take your energy if you're frightened of them.
Yeah.
And it's all bluster. They'll be
Mm.
the biggest, scariest thing that you have a fear of. But if you recognize that and you laugh at it, they have nothing.
That's a great point. That's a
So they want you to do is have that fear response. It breaks down the outside aspect of the aura. They can get their energy fingers in and steal, and that's all it is. So
so I know that, you know that. Let's just tell everybody out there that we are actually the most powerful creative force on this planet.
we
We
are
are the most creative, powerful force, right?
absolutely.
And, you know, flex that muscle, people, flex that muscle because any other entity on this planet is, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Under is what I'm
Yeah.
looking like.
Secondary.
Secondary, thank you. Thank you. They're secondary to us.
Yeah.
So, command is a beautiful world. We have command of this realm and we command the energy and we command anything else in this realm.
Yeah.
So,
And if
start
people
acting like,
don't understand how powerful they are, look at all the efforts that have been made to squash us.
yes,
Still hasn't worked.
yes.
And we're
So,
still,
imagination is a dimension, right? Our dreams are a dimension. Guys, you don't have to just focus on this reality. Use your imagination. It is a dimension. And imagine yourself slaying all the dragons, or whatever it is that you need to do to start feeling that confidence and feeling
oh,
that energy.
well, this is what I teach in my course, visualization.
Right.
Self-affirmations or prayers of intent with
Yep.
visualizations, the most powerful thing you've got. You
Yes,
can create a whole crystalline palace around you that no entity can get into.
absolutely.
It doesn't even have to be a palace, it could just be a box, but it can be
Well, it'll
whatever
be
you want it
whatever
to
it is
be.
that floats your boat, right?
Exactly, exactly. Why not make it beautiful? Why not
I'm
make it
with you. I like
spectacular?
the Crystal Palace. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. It sounds a lot better than a box, doesn't it?
It
But
does.
it's so simple, and this is the thing, people don't realize how easy it is. Because again, we've been divorced from all of that because of religion and psychology unfortunately came in, to control.
Mhm.
It's wonderful in so many ways because it can be incredibly helpful if you get the right person. But
Yes.
unfortunately, much of what underpins it was about controlling. And the last thing a person needs is, and I'm not telling anybody to go off their medication, but medication, doesn't really help. I was on an antidepressant for over 10 years
Okay.
and told after five, oh, you'll never get off it. You'll never get
Yes.
off it. If you've been on it for 5 years, you'll never get off it. I didn't
Yes.
find it difficult to get off it at all
Yeah.
and haven't touched it for many years. So, yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't do anything.
Again, it's you can either listen to the medicine world or that health world. I don't like to put health on it actually. The world of
Yeah,
medicine. The medicine
yeah.
they're indoctrinated with words. We know words are spells, casting spells, and spells have power. So if somebody says to you from their paradigm, from their program, you're going to go on this medication and you cannot come off it, or if you are going to come off it, you have to wean yourself off for a certain amount of time. That's casting a spell. That's overpowering somebody else, isn't it?
Pharmakeia, sorcery, pharmakeia.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. That
yeah.
summed it up better than what I did.
Oh no,
Absolutely.
no, you said it beautifully.
That's
And this
what
is
it
the thing,
is.
when you're at your lowest ebb and you think that this magical pill is going to fix things.
Yes.
That's how I ended up on an antidepressant. didn't really do anything. It may be a bit of a zombie. It's interesting though, because it's the one that I was on supposed to attack the pineal gland. And I was still doing readings during that time. Didn't,
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, because like I was only talking to someone the other day about when I was a drug addict, right? Like, and I was a serious, fully fledged drug addict. But even as that drug addict, for decades, I've been trying to figure out how I flicked to stopping drugs overnight and not having withdrawals, right? And it was a matter of like, we all identify with the body and the mind, right? We identify with that instead of identifying with the creation, the consciousness, the spirit that we are. And that's never broken. It's never broken. And I realized that it was always steering the ship. I was just identifying with the lower form and going, I want to get out of here. How do I get out of here? But as I was having months and months of thinking about how do I leave this relationship? How do I stop these drugs? How do I have a better life? I was actually aligning on a quantum level with the version of me that was going to flick the switch. But
oh,
steering the ship was this incredible, formidable spirit that really actually is me
yeah,
all the
exactly.
time. So you're saying there, like, it didn't do anything to Pineal. Well, she was steering the ship. She was letting other things still operate, wasn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. Had you not had that experience, and I credit you for speaking about it because, this is one of the ways that people get discredited. If you ever admit to something like that, or admit
Right.
to talking to fairies or whatever, or hugging trees, I, I,
Yep.
I let people photograph me hugging trees now because I'm so proud of it. But back in the day, no way. But yeah, I mean, I was addicted to antidepressants and pain medication.
Okay.
And one day I just said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to be in pain anymore. I am not going to be in pain anymore. And I threw it all in the bin. And I didn't crave it from that point forward. So it's a decision. It's a choice.
Well, that statement that you made, we're talking about casting spells with words. Spells can be good or evil. I'm not going to take, what was your statement? I'm not going to be in pain
I'm
anymore.
not going to be in pain anymore.
That, as soon as you said that to me, I can hear it. You had an
Yeah.
instant alignment, mind, body, spirit, and you shifted to a new version,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's what my research has been about. How did I shift from being a drug addict one day and not the next day?
Yes.
And the same with you, right? I had a thought that was, I'll do whatever it takes.
Oh, wow.
You had a thought, you said, I'm not going to be in pain anymore.
Yeah.
There are key statements that we make that completely shift us to a new version. This is a multiverse, like you said, and it either gets triggered by a statement or it can be a slow process of building to the shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we choose another universe.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
what you did, right?
And for anybody who struggles with that,
Mm.
it's probably trauma there. It's almost every addict has trauma,
Yep.
not to trigger anybody.
No.
And what's to say that having that experience doesn't, it makes you more empathic and compassionate because you're not going to judge somebody who's in that situation then because you've been there.
You know, I just realized, and you have too, that I just walked in lots of other people's shoes. I went through lots of different experiences so I could walk in other people's shoes. I
Yeah.
realized that I had to be in other people's shoes and I had to experience all this stuff because once you do, you're right. You do not judge.
No.
You
And
do.
you can't be a good counselor or a good reader if you haven't had experiences.
Yep.
Not to say that very young people can't be amazing, because some of the souls coming in who are doing this sort of work are incredibly wise, but there's something with lived experience that you just, and it's also, if you're working with a client and you haven't had their experience, they're not going to feel you. They're not going to feel that you understand where they're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've obviously both
Well,
had very interesting lives.
yeah, yeah. And look, I came to the same conclusion. God bless all the therapists out there. They're all trying to find themselves. They're all trying to find all sorts of different things.
Yeah,
And there's certainly in different dimensions, different paradigms, a need for them. But you and I have stepped into a paradigm where we go, hang on, firsthand experience is gold. It's
it is.
gold because I only attract people that are going through stuff that I've already been through, right? And you can just see them and go, yeah, I know where you're at. Yep, yep, yep. So you've already done the shift. So you're embodying it. And as you align with somebody else, energetically, they just shift.
Yeah, yeah,
They
they do.
figure out their own way, but you're just kind of like a flagship going, come this way, come this way. I've done it, right? Open the door and they walk through.
And that's again, that's the permission, the seeking you out when you've had those experiences and you found an answer that worked for you.
Yep.
That is a permission to heal.
Mm.
And it's pretty profound. So
Yes.
once, the appointment's made, pretty much the healing starts.
Yes, absolutely. And this is us creating a new world, right?
Yeah.
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 That's full of love, full of love. And I even said it to somebody the other day because people get it's the mind or the ego or whatever it is that kind of pulls them back and looks at it, it categorizes and judges people like you and I in all sorts of ways because it's actually terrified, right, of what's going to happen. But the woman I was talking to the other day started to realize that when we actually make the shift to another level or another, whatever you want to call it, you actually are filled with more humility, more insight, more compassion, like than you ever have before.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's so worth going all through, and I don't advocate for trauma, but unfortunately it seems to teach us amazing lessons. It's so worth ditching the medications and ditching the OCD and finding ways out of these processes that are holding us back because of fear and trauma, getting to the other side, because the world is a beautiful place. I said recently in an interview, I've never felt less fear than I do now.
Yes,
And there are people around me saying, but there's this going on and there's that going on. But I can see that the whole structure that's been controlling on this planet is crumbling.
yeah,
It is crumbling. And again, we're talking on radio. I just want to mention dark entities communicate through the radio waves. This is why it's so important for us to have these conversations.
correct.
Thank you for asking me on again so we can do this, because we're impregnating those radio waves with something really
We
positive.
are, we
And
are.
even though I shut down my clairaudience in childhood because I was used in rituals to communicate with these dark entities, I can still tune in to that radio station and they're not doing well.
Mm,
It's so faint now because a lot of them have had to leave because the frequency here is too high and they cannot stand it. Some
okay.
have gone underground. So there are different frequencies within the planet as opposed to outside of the planet or on the surface. It's dull. It's dull. It used to be screeching a couple of years ago. They were screeching because they were so pissed. Now it's a dull sound. So a lot of them just aren't here anymore.
Well, and I also heard just recently through another channel as well that there were 200 main beings on this planet, and 190 of them have been removed. They've gone. And that
Okay.
the other 10 of them that are here are pretty much energetically locked.
Fantastic. That makes so
Right.
much sense to me.
So what we're hearing now, let's go back to where we started. 0.036% of energy is what you see. And on, the rest of the 99 point whatever, there's a ton of stuff going on, guys, and you better start tuning into it. Go and do, firstly, Rachel's psychic course and start tuning back into those powers that you actually have, where we can see with different eyes, hear with different ears, we need to start doing that.
And we can see infrared and ultraviolet
Mm.
as well, but it's through the peripheral vision. So a lot of people will see entities, but they'll only see it out of the corner of their eyes because
Yes.
infrared is usually a dark entity, ultraviolet is usually your angelic or
Yeah.
spirit guide or higher self, whatever. So we do see spirit, but often we don't understand why we only see it out of the corner of our eyes. And that's
Yeah.
because different rods and cones, different concentrations that can pick that up.
I know that one, the rods
Yeah.
and cones in our eyes. I know all about that one. But if people want to know more about that, they'll have to do their own research or do your
Yeah.
course. Yes,
Thank you.
because we can, like, we have those abilities. We're not exercising the muscle. It's like there's systems
Exactly.
within us, but we're not utilizing them.
My dream is that children will be taught energetic protection from an early age so that if there is anything under the bed or in the closet or in the mirror,
Yep.
they'll know how to get rid of it.
Yep.
And these are really basic things that children were taught in
Mm.
Indigenous cultures and protected from. You see in Indian cultures, little children have often got eyeliner around their eyes. That's a way of warding off the evil eye. You know,
Oh,
they'll wear amber, they'll have
yep.
henna on them, that's a protective amulet.
Yes.
We don't do that with our Western kids.
No, we
Poor
don't.
things. If we just shove them in a room on their own, whereas co-sleeping is much more natural,
Yep.
on their own, and tell them they have to go and be in their room
And when
with
they cry
music.
and they say it's something scary, then the parents just say, it's just a dream. There's
Yeah,
nothing here.
yeah,
Get back to bed. And they push the children to just be on their own and deal with some sort of horror.
yeah. Don't talk about it because people will think you're crazy. And so then the child has to deal with that as well, that
Mhm.
maybe there's something wrong with them mentally because they're having these experiences.
Yeah.
And I really recommend to parents whose children do say those sorts of things, take the mirrors out of the room if possible,
Right.
because they are a portal. I was
Mhm.
watching something, a beautiful client sent me a link recently, in the 1800s when mirrors were really became something big, and who knows what history is
Yes,
real or
yes,
what is
true.
not.
True.
But when they first started bringing them out, and they were very large, and they'd cost these, aristocrats, a month's wages just to have a huge mirror. They had a ritual of covering them up at a certain time of the evening before it got dark. All the mirrors would be covered.
Something in the Jewish culture as
Is
well.
that right?
They do
Yeah.
that. I just look honestly, I saw it in a Fraser, Fraser, the show.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
He went to a funeral and all the mirrors had
Yeah.
been covered up.
Yes, because they're portals. They're
Right.
interdimensional.
Okay.
And so if you've got mirrors in your child's room, there's an entity can get in and out easy. It's just like an invitation. Children have the sort of energy that these entities really want because they're young, and they're
Well, they're
fresh,
open. They're open.
and they can see. And that's the thing. Most children up until about 5, and they get into the West, sort of like the learn by rote rubbish. Everything has to be left brained. System, up
Yep.
until about that age, they're usually very, very psychic. And
Mm.
again, like Monsters Inc., there's no point in a demon attacking somebody who can't see them because they're not scared and their aura doesn't break down when they have that fright response.
Mhm.
So children just get harassed constantly
Mm.
and they don't have any help.
Yes. Yep. Good. Well, I hope that those people that are listening out there start to look at that sort of thing if they've got children, and just encourage the children to talk about whatever's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. And
Shut it
giving
down.
children something like a prayer to protect themselves doesn't have to be religious. It can just be, I am stronger than you. And
Yep.
imagine the entity being sucked out of the room or something. As long as the child can visualize,
Mm.
children are so
I
powerful. They
taught my
really
nephew that. I smudged my house, right? And I had my nephew around, and at the time he must have been all of about 6 or 7 years old. And he said, Auntie Helen, what are we doing? And I said, well, we're going to just clean all of the ghoulies out of the house,
Oh
right?
wow.
And I said, but we've got to open up all the doors and the cupboards first. So he thought it was a great game. We just
Oh, I
opened up
bet.
all the drawers, all the cupboards, everything, and then we smudged the house. And
Fantastic.
yeah, and I just taught him to say, we've got to get into all the corners and under things and everything else. And we just and the smoke, I said the smoke's just going there and it's pushing all the ghoulies, all the dark energy, all the and we went around twice because first time was about get out. Out you go, right? Filling the space up. And the second time we went round was like, put love in that corner. So he was putting love in a drawer and he was putting love in cupboards.
Oh,
Yeah. And it was beautiful. And I'm thinking, yeah, I planted a seed. I planted a seed.
yeah,
Hmm?
absolutely. And then the most beautiful thing is that he knows it's real because he's
Yeah,
probably had some experiences and you made him feel safe.
absolutely. And
There's
that's a
something you can
great point.
do.
That's a great point. Make them feel safe.
Yeah, yeah.
Make them
Oh,
feel safe.
so important. Yeah. If I have my way and the future that I'm seeing occurs, children will be taught this.
Yes.
It'll be one of the most important things that they learn, and they'll learn it early.
Yeah. So let's look at the focus on the adults here, because the adults that are listening here need to know that this is a multi-dimensional universe, right? You've got your dimension, I've got my dimension, and we just buffer up against like-minded people. And if you want to shift that, how do you do that? Because you said earlier, you've got to believe.
Well, so do you mean how do you shift other people? How do you
How
help
do,
them?
how, to anybody out there that's thinking I'm surrounded by negative people and I understand and I don't want this reality. I want the one that Rachel and Helen have got.
Yeah.
What do they have to believe? How do they do that?
First, they have to believe that they have. they deserve better.
Mm.
And this is where it gets difficult, because sometimes that means letting go of people.
Yeah.
If those people can't come with you, we get stuck in the drama triangle where either the perpetrator, the victim, or the rescuer. If you're in a situation where you're trying to rescue a whole bunch of people, you're actually not helping them. If you're staying with those people that are making you miserable because they can't see what you can see and they can't see the future that you're trying to create,
Yeah.
sometimes you've got to let them go. And if they really want to be with you, they will step up and follow, or
Yes.
they'll just stick there. Obviously, you can't do this with your kids. You can't leave your kids behind. But you
No,
can.
no, and I mean, even as far as leaving people behind, I don't think that's our focus now. One, I know that don't try and heal somebody else. Don't. All bets are off. We're all souls in a body here. We all have access to everything. I just, from my experience, if I embodied an aura, I mean, I put the challenge out to God or creator or source, and I said, I want an aura that's so clean and so clear that if I just brush past somebody, I heal them. Huh, that'd be cool, right?
I
Game on.
love it.
But I
That
realized,
does happen. You're probably already there. And that person might let something nasty in, or but it does, that does happen.
yes. And what
Yeah.
my point is, yeah, people, you do start to shift your reality and change into a different reality. But remember that it's gradual. It's not going to happen real fast. It's not like everyone's going to drop off and you're going to be on your own.
No, no, this is the thing. If you're following your path, your soul purpose, you're doing the right thing that is right for you, that you came here to do,
Yeah.
you will just keep evolving
Yes.
and keep lifting in frequency. And that is contagious.
And there'll be little choices along the way, little choices. And, even to have conversations with those people around you that are questioning or challenging you, there'll be moments to do that as well. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
sometimes hard.
Sometimes it's really good to be challenged.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really important. It can be
Yes.
annoying,
Yeah.
especially if it's trolling, but it can be good. I mean, one of the best things that ever happened to me was one troll just kept saying that the tunnels that I was trafficked through didn't exist. So I proved her wrong. And
Mhm.
I absolutely honor for her for that, because that was part of her job in this lifetime, was to
Yep.
keep pushing me, because I
Yes.
wouldn't have done it otherwise, because the triggers, it was horrifically triggering.
And that's beautiful because you were seeing it as an opportunity to grow.
Absolutely. And I hated the process,
Mm.
but it was fundamental to my growth.
Yeah. And did it pull you out of an old program?
Absolutely.
That's the key.
Absolutely. And people all over the world helped me.
Mm.
All over the world. People in countries I, you know, didn't know anybody in it. They would just send me emails. Did you know you could do this? Have you tried this mapping system? This might help you.
Okay.
It was a huge group effort. It was amazing. I made so many friends, just beautiful people. That
And
that also was part of it, because that taught me people all over the world want this to change. They want this to be proven right,
yeah.
because there's children being trafficked all over the place. And if I could prove the tunnels in my locale, then people over the other side of the world could possibly prove them in theirs as well.
Mhm. And that
And
was
it's
a good
not
example
that
of
difficult.
you were stepping out of the reality that you'd lived in for a long, long time. And as you stepped out of it, you were aligning yourself with other people in another reality who were all wanting to help.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I wanted to do this. I needed to make it happen, and it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I want everyone to recognize that
Yeah.
because, when you step out of your current reality where you feel like you are alone and you're misunderstood or you want something better, as soon as you pop your head out, there's a whole heap of people out there ready to go, Hi, how are
Exactly.
you? Do you need
Yeah.
a hand?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. And
gorgeous. It's
you
absolutely,
know, through that process, once I'd done that, that was the hardest part.
yes.
Everything else was easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's just clunky and sticky and icky and
Yeah. Yeah.
everything. But once you've done it, a whole new vista opens up, doesn't it?
It does.
And you
Exactly.
wouldn't go back.
Oh no, no, no. I'm so glad I had to go through that process, because I'd already said publicly that they existed, and my partner at the time said, "You really want to do that without actually proving it first?" so that you've got the evidence. And I said, yes, I have to do this so that then I know I have to do it.
Yep.
I forced myself to do it. And then I went through that process.
And it's the way life works is not linear like everybody thinks. It's not a beginning and a middle and an end. You have to take a step. And when you take a step, what you're looking for reveals itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And look,
And
the
oh,
evidence isn't always there.
mhm,
Sometimes there has to be steps to get to it.
okay.
If I hadn't spoken about it publicly before I found the evidence, all these people from all over the world wouldn't have brought me their way of finding the evidence.
Yeah.
You know, even to the point where someone sent me a title for a house 2 doors down from where I grew up that showed the tunnel under that person's house.
Yeah.
And just, a property title. It just, and then some other people went to the next door property when it got raised to the ground, and there's the tunnel opening. You can see it in the photographs. And they found me to send it to me. Like intrepid people, like it was dangerous to do that, but they did it.
But
Humanity is amazing.
you had to be brave first.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
You had to be brave. And as soon as you were brave, you were rewarded. At some point, the reward comes along.
Yeah. With all these other brave people. Yeah. So this is the thing. It's a follow-on effect. It's like a ripple. It's like a ripple. Be the person that you came here to be.
Mhm.
Follow your soul purpose. Do what makes your heart sing.
Find
I
out what
cannot
that is.
reiterate it enough. Yeah, exactly. And find out what that is. That can be very frustrating for people. They
Yeah.
don't even know what that is because they don't know how to look into themselves and they
Mhm.
don't even know what they like, which is so sad.
Yep. Got to work on yourself. You've
Yeah.
got to, well, know thyself.
Yes.
Know thyself is probably one of the ultimate truths, isn't it? Yeah.
Figure out what it is that makes your heart sing. Find a way to make that your income.
Well, we're busy working on the life that we're living and the people that are in it, and a job or whatever. A lot of people aren't spending some significant time on working on themselves on a
Yes.
regular basis as well.
Mhm.
So that's where we're at right now. Is like go work on yourself, guys. My gosh, if you don't do an hour, a day, an hour a day, and it sounds really hard, right? And it's a bit clunky at first, but you must have some practices that you do on a daily basis with yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Well, before I do readings, I always have a communication with my spirit guides and my higher self, and I ask them for anything I need to know, and for protection for myself and my querent, and what they need to know for their highest good. So, and there's often a lot of humor involved. We have a chat and we have a giggle, and that's a daily for me, and that doesn't take very long, but that's a daily.
Doesn't have to.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And I write in the morning. I write. I just write.
lovely.
Yeah, because, and even just recently, I had a client who had resisted. I've known her. She's cycled through my life a number of times. And I remember being her, and the mind goes, what's the point? What's the point in just writing stuff down?
Yeah.
It is when you actually just sit quietly in a space and just start writing stuff, you will surprise yourself with what
Yes,
comes out, right?
absolutely.
And she said to me the other day when she was talking to me, she said, "Oh, and when I was journaling yesterday, and I just laughed at her and I said, Who are you? Are you?" Talking about, when I was journaling, as opposed to the woman who went, What's the point? I can't do it. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. So, journaling is just a good way of doing it too. And yeah, like you, have a conversation with the energy that's around you, the good energy that's around you and supporting you.
Oh,
Yes.
and the answers that come through. I mean, the wisdom that is accessible when you have a practice like that. It's the
Yep.
same with the writing.
Mm.
You could ask the universe, what do I need to know today?
Yes. It starts with that, give me the answer to this. Show me how to do this. Just,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
something for yourself.
Yeah.
So let me just let people know now, because you've got two websites. You've got Lay Love Down. I'm going to put the links with this talk
Oh,
as well.
thank you.
Okay. So tell them about Lay Love Down just quickly, what that's going to help them with.
Okay, so lay love down, Ley, love down. It's about how to have an effect on the ley lines that is positive to help the earth ascend. And it's as simple as getting out, finding a ley line and singing, or playing 432 hertz music, or
And
just being happy, dancing, or just going there and having a picnic and sharing joy with somebody. It's as simple as that. It removes the dark energy that's been pumped in, and it helps to bring back balance.
Great. Heaven,
So
heaven. And tell them about sixth science.
So Sixth Science is my business, and that's where I do readings and I teach courses on psychic development, as I was saying before. And I'm hoping one day that children are taught these sorts of things, like basic stuff like energetic protection from a very early age. I have a first level course where I teach people how to see ley lines, how to find them, and aura reading and energetic protection. And then the advanced course, which doesn't require prerequisite learning, covers a lot of bases. So it's all of those things plus mediumship, telepathy, remote viewing, blah
Yay,
blah, precognition, all the good stuff.
all the things that I introduced the show with.
Yeah, basically, yeah. When you did this, feels like, oh, this is me. I love this.
Absolutely.
Fantastic,
Absolutely. Oh, look, Rachel, this has been wonderful. I mean, an hour's gone extremely fast, like it
hasn't it?
always does.
Far out.
I know, I know. But like, thank you. Thank you so much. As I said, I'm going to put the links to both of your websites up with this. People, go and start learning on how to be supernatural, right? It's time.
It is time. It is.
And
Thank you,
thank
Helen.
you for speaking all things supernatural with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, Rachel.
Good on you for making a platform like this. I'm so impressed. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, everyone.